Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you all enjoyed my little April Fool's video. I certainly hope nobody took that seriously. But strange, humour has an element of truth in it. Yeah, there is something about ignoring orchids for a bit. And I think the logic is really that if you just don't check your orchids very often, the chances are when you do, something has changed. So it comes as a bit of a surprise. I mean, I come out here every day and have a look round. Sometimes it's literally 2 minutes. Just stand and look. And I'm just checking for bug outbreaks. I seem to be able to spot them from quite a distance nowadays. It's called practice, I think. You know, and just changes. Things that looked like they were going to open. Have they done it yet? You know, all things like that. And anything that, you know, I mean, I've had some bacterial or, you know, that type of infection on plants. Not for a while now, but I have had them. And they take over a plant really, really fast. So, you know, the difference a day makes could be the difference between possibly saving part of the plant and losing the whole lot. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. If you've got the time, a quick check, quick look. I mean, I can't look at every single plant individually every day, and I don't. But I did notice a couple of things. This little Hamiltonaria is just opening. I'll see if I can turn it round so we can have a look. So that's what that's going to look like. Not fully open yet. And it's funny how your memory plays tricks. I don't remember these blooms being this big last time round. I mean, obviously it's going to open better than that, I hope. But yeah, the buds are just starting to open on that one, so that should be out soon. The Coelogene's gone, Coelogene cristata, but that lasted incredibly well. And as a first-time bloomer, I'll live with a single spike. But, you listening, we need more next year, not one. I've got 2 potfuls, roughly the same. Probably in the same stage of growth and everything like that. Well, although I love those blooms, I don't need 2 potfuls, so one of them will go. And which one am I going to keep? Well, obviously the one that bloomed. But there's no reason why the other one shouldn't. They're almost identical. They were potted at the same time. It was a large plant going all over the place, and I split it up, took off all the best bits and made 2 potfuls out of it. And then I must have got the timing right, because they took off like a rocket. I mean, the bulbs on that one are bigger than I've ever had before, and one managed to bloom. So I don't think there'll be another spike on that this year. I'll probably have to wait till next year. Something else. Oh yes, talking about not looking at plants. I'll have to get this out because it's buried. So let me just, the camera will just waggle around for a bit while I dig in the undergrowth here. Oh, come out. Well, that's the funniest looking new growth I've ever seen. It's blooming. That is a huge surprise because that is a very tiny young plant. And it pushed up that from that side and what looked the same the other side, but that's turned into a bloom spike, much to my surprise. That's Coelogene, which one is it now? Oh, that's right, it used to be called Orchracia, sorry, I'll get it in a minute, but it was renamed as Nitida, and that's been its name for a while now, so that ought to be its proper name really. But yeah, I mean, you can see the progression on the plant. I think I bought that with 2 pseudo bulbs. And then it pushed another one up, a bit bigger. And then it pushed that nice big one up last year. And that one is obviously now blooming size. I suspect the other one is a new growth. But yeah, so first time bloomer there. And this is one of the most fragrant Coelogenes. So we'll get to check that out. I don't know whether the spike's going to arch or whether it's going to be an upright spike. Most Coelogenes arch they start off shooting skywards, and then just the sheer, you know, they start to arch over, and the weight of the buds and the final blooms make them arch. That's what they normally do. So yeah, another one to add to the list of first time bloomers, soon to come. I don't know, I mean, it's grown well, last time I watered it they both look like that, and it's done that probably in just under a week. So it's developing at quite a rate. So I don't know how long it'll be before it blooms, but it won't be long. And the other thing I was thinking about is this sea of green up here. As far as buds are concerned, oi, come on! Well, there's one up there. There's right at the back in the corner. You won't be able to see the plant as such, but that one right in the corner there is actually a nobile type. And that one is bursting with blooms all over. But it's an odd nobile because it doesn't bloom in the late winter. It comes on later. And it's probably still a month away from the blooms opening. So, you know, it could even be into May before it blooms. So it's quite a late bloomer for a nobile type. But has lovely yellow flowers, that one. It's called Wedding Bells. It pushed out a few blooms last year, but not many. This year it looks like it's going to make up for lost time. Looks like it's going to go mad. Other things not far off blooming, the nester up there. Once the buds push out away from the cane, they're not far off opening. The anosmum up there by the door, they've only just pushed away from the cane, so the nester's going to be open first. And I did notice this morning there's quite a few buds blasted on those canes, an obvious one there, but there's quite a few pairs of buds that didn't develop both. You can see there and there. Actually there's two buds developed there and one that didn't, so that could have been three. But they'll be open soon. That'll be a good show when it does. And this up here is the monster Dendrobium that had the major surgery on it and was hacked to pieces to get it on a mount. And I did say it looked like there were buds. Well, there definitely are buds. There's quite a few of these swellings on the canes are now looking much more like buds. But if I hadn't observed that, can you see the slippage? One of the sections of that plant is about to fall off the mount. It obviously didn't catch the wire properly. You see the section to the left at the bottom? That's dropped 2 inches because they were both together, the base of the plant. So that's about to fall off. So I need to very carefully take that down, ready to catch it if it does fall off, and fix it. That's a nuisance, that is, because it hasn't long been up there. But the other section of the plant is well attached. It's just that smaller section out to the left. So rather than undo the wires, I'll just add some more on and fix that one in. This rain is becoming tedious, to say the least. It's been doing this for 3 days now. I think I've had about half an hour's sun in that long. But it's passing over. It's moving up country. So look out, all you up in the north, you're going to get this. And by the time it gets to you, it's probably going to be snow, apparently, allegedly. Yeah, so just a quick video. Perhaps there is something in this, although that was a joke yesterday, this don't look at your canes or you won't get buds. Well, like I say, sometimes humour has an element of truth. And that certainly is a surprise. I was not expecting that. The other coleogeny down here, the biggie. The 3 new growths on there, I'm expecting all of them to bloom. Somebody asked about the knobbly leaves. It does warrant an explanation. I've seen this plant owned by others, you know, brought into orchid meetings and things for the competition tables that have had leaves exactly like that. So the first one I ever saw, I asked the person, I said, why do the leaves do that? And they said it's lack of hydration. It basically deforms the leaves, and on this type of plant it does that. So that's the equivalent of the concertina leaves on the oncidium types that you often get. And it's lack of hydration. It just means those leaves couldn't develop properly. And luckily, see there's some up there as well. Did the same thing. But those were already on it when I got it. And they worried me. And then that new growth down there did it to me as well. So those were my leaves. But this new growth that I'm holding here, which came out a little bit after that one, pushed clean leaves up, because by then it was getting a decent root system on it. And those three new growths, the one to the right has a spike on it. Well, this one actually pushed a spike up, but it aborted. But yeah, I'm expecting it to make it this time, because it reacted a bit badly, like some plants do, to being repotted. Lost quite a few of its roots, and basically it was one of those getting the timing wrong. I assumed because new growths were coming I would get a new root system, and it seemed like a good idea, but I hadn't had the plant long enough. This thing doesn't push the roots out until the bulbs are almost mature, so it got repotted too early, and as a consequence became a little dehydrated. It didn't have a good root system. It's got a good root system now. It's in a giant pot deliberately, and good guesswork on my part, because it is a little bit of a guesswork sometimes. The plant was put over the right side of the pot to give the new growths the rest of the pot to grow into, and subsequent new growths to push on. So I don't need to get that out of the pot for some time now. But yeah, that's these blooms are some of the largest Coelogene blooms. This is it's Coelogene Moriana magnifica, the named variety Brockhurst, and it was awarded when it was first shown. Not this one, but you know what I mean. So that's going to bloom soon. Well, I say soon, it's been sat there like that for a while. I don't know, Coelogenes are funny. They just seem to have a different growth pattern. Alberto's just done quite recently done a video on Coelogene cristata, how all the frights you can get, you know, starting from spikes that start off pushing up strong and then stop and just don't grow, and it frightens you. You think you're going to lose the spike, and then it suddenly shoots on and the buds start to form, and they look like they're all going to blast, and then they don't, they actually open. So they do some strange things, Coelogenes, but most of them are cool growers, you know, so they're the sort of things that if you can't provide a lot of heat during the winter months, Coelogenes will probably love it. They'll only take the heat in the summer, most of them, if you can keep the humidity up. They are drinkers, they're thirsty things in the growing season, but they need that humidity in the air as well. Dry air, they just don't seem to do so well. So if you've got humidity and can keep the temperatures down a bit, they should grow well. And once they take off and get a root system under them, they grow like blinking weeds. It's just getting them to take off in the first place, which I had quite a bit of trouble. I think I've got 5 or 6 different Coelogenes. I've got the Fimbriata, which blooms in the autumn and has lovely sort of creamy coloured blooms. They're not large, they're fragrant, with a lovely chocolate brown lip that's a bit frilly, a bit hairy. So that's an attractive little one. I've got 2 potfuls of that as well, one to go sometime. But that's an autumn bloomer. Most of them are spring, spring bloomers. Some of them are midwinter bloomers. I mean, I've seen Coelogenes in full bloom just after Christmas, and others in April, so they do vary. What else have I got? Coelogene, I've got the 2 potfuls of cristata, 2 potfuls of Fimbriata. I've got this Nitida, which is about to bloom. I've got a Flaccida somewhere that hasn't bloomed yet, and then I've got that big Moriana down there. So I have a few dotted around, but up until this year, apart from the Fimbriata, which did bloom in the autumn, nothing's ever bloomed. So they don't get looked at very often. The forgotten few. But this lot up here needs to get its act together. There's a sea of green up here, some lovely strong healthy growths, all sorts, but no spikes at the moment, apart from that wedding bells up the back there. I mean, the little Latoria buried in behind the orange here, that's got 3 blooming spikes on it that are doing their normal thing, lasting an absolute age. That's The hell is that? It's Polysema crossed with Aberrans, I believe. I'm not getting the tag out, it's buried. And also, right down in the corner there, that pot full of sticks, that's actually Dendrobium Stardust Firebird. And it's got buds on it. And it's actually going to bloom. And they're pushing on nicely now. Now I got another one of those up here from Beatrix, some Kikis in a pot that will not stand up. That's why it's leaning at the moment. That needs sorting out. But this is pushing up some nice new growths on here. But that's Stardust as well. And that looks like a bud. But on this flipping plant, that could just as easily be a Kiki. It's a real Kiki machine, that one. But, anyway, what I will probably do is these growths will take off now. They will produce new roots because the roots on the Kikis aren't too good. But the new growths will start new root systems going. So that will be a good time to get that in its sort of pot where it can live for a while, shall we call it. And I think what I might do is the other Stardust that I've got, I don't really want it. It's not one that actually does a lot for me. But if I combine mine, once the new growths form at the base, if they do, with those, that's a flipping good potful for somebody. But it will always have the health warning, it loves to produce Kikis. I think I've already given 2 potfuls away of Kikis from the same plant. And the plant I've got buried in the corner down there, that's Kikis. I dumped the mother plant a long time ago because it was ugly. Oh, that was a tatty object. But mine would not grow from the base, it just kept throwing Kikis out. Well, these Kikis are producing growths at the base. So those are new canes, so that's going to look better when that grows. Certainly better than the one I had. Still waiting for that to open as well. Comet King. Single bloom, but at least we get to see it. And there was something else. Oh yeah, this is going to be a silhouette, but the buds on my Tolumnia are starting to form. I think that one's Black Magic, if I remember rightly. Yeah, Jarrett Flyer Black Magic. So those will be a dark colour with a name like that. And the buds are forming now. Should be 4, maybe 5. But that's a recovering plant. That got hit badly by the scale, so I'm lucky to still have that one. I've still got one Tolumnia that just won't have it. That's that little one there. But it has got a new growth that's doubled in size over the last couple of weeks at the base of the plant, sort of slightly to the left. So I may be able to save that one, but that's my only Tolumnia still on the danger list. Yeah, danger of going out and trying this weather out for size under the hedge. But it stands a chance, you know. Most of the others are now doing roots. They're pushing out roots all over the place. And once they do that, they're effectively saved, provided I can keep the flipping scale off of them again. But yeah, we should have some blooms on that soon. I think that'll be the first time that's bloomed for me. Right, that'll do for today. I need to get on with my talk that I'm working on. It is the visuals are nearly finished now. I'm on the last section, and then what I'll do is I'll talk to it effectively and record the soundtrack as an example of what that talk will be like when I actually give it to the Orchid Societies. But I won't leave it as a permanent video. I'm only going to leave it up for a couple of days. So it's one of those you need to, you know, if you're interested in it, you need to get on and watch it. And I'll be very, very keen on suggestions for improvements to it. Because I haven't done an orchid talk at an Orchid Society before. So I can start with, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, well that's cobblers, I was a consultant for 30 years, so I'm a blabbermouth. And that'll be the problem with that, is trying to keep my mouth in check with the video so that so that the video doesn't get ahead of me. But yeah, comments will be appreciated, where I can do improvements, things you think I ought to add in or take out, or bits that are too long, all that sort of stuff. I mean, you get 45 minutes with some time for questions at the end, so the video should be around 45 minutes long, so it will be a long one. But I should be able to get that posted in the next day or two. I'll see how I go. And yeah, apart from that, see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.